Hello, everyone. My name is Shelly Dressel, and I channel the Universal Light Beings. I'm so happy to see everyone tonight. We're a week out from Christmas, so I know it's that really hectic time. I know there's other holidays that people also celebrate, but this time of year is always just so hectic and going, parties. I had a function come up that, which is why I changed it to tonight instead of tomorrow night. But it's like, this is that time that you really do enjoy it. I personally really do enjoy it, but sometimes it's just a little bit hectic, just a little hectic. So I had a conversation with Alexander about a week or so ago, and we decided we're going to go ahead and stream on YouTube again, like I used to in the past. So tonight we're going to be streaming on 3 locations. It'll be YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook. So I'm super excited to see how this goes. I figured, they're not just going to take me down with the first time. I would at least get a warning. So if I end up with another warning, then okay, we got our message again. But I'm hoping that things are not censored as much as they used to be, because when was it taken down? Today's 24. So in 2023, but I think I got my first strikes in sometime in 22 or something like that. So it was over about a 6 or 8 month period of time. I did get a strike last summer, but it was just very crazy. I think I might have mentioned it. I went in there, I took these 3 question things saying, I will not give disinformation again. They say, okay, and they took the strike away. So it's almost like you have to play their game. But we'll see. We'll see how it all goes. And oh, good. Here's someone from Facebook. Awesome. Great to see you, Lilith. And now we have, Facebook and YouTube and Rumble. Had several on here from Rumble just waiting. So very, very nice. Why are we not seeing anything that's happening around us? Oh. He's going to talk about that. So that's good. That is absolutely part of what he's been talking to me about. So we shall see. So anyway, these are, my website is crystallinetransformations.com. And I am part of Goddess Light. Goddess Light is my original website. So you can look at both of them if you want information about me. I do private sessions, but you'll need to reach out to me. I don't start out by reaching out to you, other than to say, check out my websites. And let's see here. So I have found that there's just so much that is happening. And if you're on there and looking for stuff, there is so much disclosure. It's just like nonstop, especially on X. And you can see a lot in Telegram. And then on Rumble, I don't know. I don't do as much on Rumble, but those 2 do have a lot that I personally follow. I know lots of you on here look at other people and other, and you follow other people that will, hey, Sevilla, good to see you. But that will follow other people. So there's a lot of stuff out there that when I hear about it, I think, don't think so. Or maybe it's just partially right. I mean, who knows? I could be totally wrong. They could be totally wrong, or somewhere in between. So I just figure that we're still in this place of limbo. But I feel as if, hey, Karen, I feel as if, who is it? Brysentia maybe will talk about it, because the winter solstice is coming up on Saturday, winter/summer. And I feel as if that's going to be another huge wave of energy. And I feel as if that's going to be another download of the higher frequencies into everything. And I feel like that's also going to clear out a lot. I also feel as if that's why so much keeps coming up for people, because it's coming up to be cleared. It's coming up to be changed. It's coming up to be, to help people make decisions. So, hey, hello from Norway. Good to see you. So anyway, that's why there is just so much. And then you add to it this busy time of year when, people are working, people are meeting with friends, you're going places, you're doing stuff. And before you know it, just a lot. I was saying today I got home and there had been a lot of traffic and stuff. And I was just like, I'm just dead. Had intended to do a number of things. And instead I was just vegging for a while. But I do think that sometimes just being out in a lot of people is just very draining. At least it is for me. I don't know if that is for everyone. So welcome. I'm really thrilled that y'all are here. I always enjoy these because I never know for sure what they're going to say. And one of the things that's come up, I've thought about it, others have thought about it, is when Albayon or anybody else is saying, this is what I predict is going to happen, this is what I think is going to happen. Nobody knows 100%, and when it happens is when it's going to happen. I still feel 100% that that all of these things that we've been talking about will happen. And I woke up on Monday. Oh yeah, today's only Tuesday. So yesterday, I woke up on yesterday and I heard, don't think there's going to be the Nasara like we thought there was. I just felt as if they didn't want it to come under Biden. They wanted it to come under Trump. But I just thought, no, get over these egos, get over this stuff, and let's move forward and help people out. So that's why if you got my email, that's why I put that clip in there. Let's all just manifest. It's in the account. It's here. It's in our reality right now. And people have always said, well, if it happens to the US, is it going to happen overseas? This is something that when it does happen, it will happen worldwide. That's always been my perception of it. Okay, so anyway, that's I'm trying to think if there was anything else that I talked about that I wanted to bring up. So 2 weeks from now is going to be New Year's Day. And I will have 2 weeks from tomorrow will be New Year's Day, and I will have the channel with the universal beings. I know a lot of people will probably be busy then, but I'll be here, and if you want to join me, please do. Otherwise, I hope you have wonderful holidays and everything in between. I'll be in and out of here as always. And I always love your comments and the emails that you send to me, and donations. Those are always great. Thank you. I've received several this week. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And let's go. Greetings. It is I, Albayon. I come to you at this time to bring energy, light, love, information, whatever it is. I am here in support of you, humanity. I am here to bring as much information as I can. I know that you live in these very, very turbulent times. I know that there are changes that are taking place on almost a daily basis. I know that everything that we're talking about and everything that we're tapping into are the energies. These are the energies that represent what you, the people of the earth, are sending into us. These are the energies that we read from the consciousness of the earth. These are the energies that we read from the universal beings, all of the many, many beings that are living on the motherships and on the other smaller ships that go in and out of your energy field or in and out of the earth plane. So understand that everything is about frequency. We talk about that all the time. We know that's not anything new to you. And when you are sending out a particular frequency, that's the energy that you're going to read around you. And if you want to, and then what, because somebody says, can you be more grounded or something like that? And so I am going to see if I can be more grounded and or look at things from the perspective of those who are grounded, because it's uncomfortable to lower my vibration too much. So I do want to say to you also that I have a very strong feeling that the earth plane's vibration is much higher than what each of you think it is. So many of you say, well, I feel great and I will read information or I'll listen to people or I'll listen to music and my vibration is floating up here and I feel really good. And then I go out and talk to other people and just, boom, it just plummets. I think what is happening here is that just this week there was another clearing out of very low negative energy. And in that clearing out, it also removed overlays that have been upon humanity. So when there is an overlay, basically what we're talking about is that it is a vibration or frequency that is placed by those that are the nefarious ones, as we always refer to them. And this overlay is placed there as an intention of dumbing down or suppressing the energy of humanity. So as these overlays are removed, this is part of what's happening when the solar flares come in. This is part of what's happening as there are different like impulses of light that come from various locations. Some of this is coming from each of you as you put forth your intention to clear stuff. Some of this is coming from the inner earth as the inner earth is shooting out their energies and beams of light so as to assist with the transition of humanity. So it is not just that it's coming from the solar flares, although those are very powerful. But when these things are happening, it is breaking down those many layers that have been considered overlays, or it's breaking up the energy of those that are just still stuck in a lower vibration. Let us speak about that for a moment. Each one of you, that if you're listening to this at this time, chances are you've got a pretty high vibration. And nobody is there 24/7 because you can't support it on the earth plane. However, you spend the majority of your time in the lighter frequency. You're very well aware of what is happening in the planet. You're very well aware of what you can do to get into that space of the higher frequency. And so therefore, I would consider you one of the ones that have moved through that ascension process. And you are the ones that are saying, hey, come on up and join us. Come on up and be in this reality. So then you have the next layers, and those are the people that say, there have been many fishy things going on. There's a lot of corruption. There's a lot of lying going on. There are many things that are not supportive of humanity. And so these are people that are well aware that this is going on. Do they understand the full spiritual ascension? A lot of them do not. Do they understand that things are changing on the planet? Some of them don't think so. Many of them do know so. And so what I would encourage each of you to do, if you do have conversations with other individuals, is to start talking about what a spiritual ascension is and what a spiritual transformation is. It's about that realization that each one of you are more than just the human in this lifetime. You come from a very high vibrational soul essence. And within that soul, you're able to connect not only to your home planet or your home universe, but you're also able to connect to the other aspects of you that do live and experience the high vibrational frequency. So spirituality is also the realization that God and the Christ energy comes from within you, that when Christ walked on earth, when these other prophets have walked on the earth, they were there as a reminder that there's more than just what somebody else is doing or parroting or trying to control in you. And so therefore, in your own personal spirituality, you are realizing, recognizing, understanding that, oh my goodness, I actually come from this beautiful high light being. And oh, in the midst of that is God. And therefore, that is God within me. I am that reflection of God in all of my many incarnations. So that is just kind of in the nutshell what the spiritual ascension is about. So when you look back at what's been going on for the last thousands and thousands of years, they have tried to take God out of everything. They have tried to say, here, you can pray to this God, what's given to you in your religions, or you can understand that this God is over there. And oh, by the way, he's judging you, and you better watch out what you're doing. So all of these energies came from control and manipulation, and they took things that were loving, kind, and supportive and twisted it into something that was not. So when you think about that and how that is so entrained in people, it's not going to change quickly and easily. This has been very, very, very consciously focused and transitioning for the last about 7 to 8 years. Now, you may think, good gracious, that's a long, long time. But when you look back to the 7 to 8 years ago, how many people did you know? How many of these websites did you see? How many social media platforms talked about this? Not very many. Whereas you look at it now and just the last 3 or 4 years, it has magnified exponentially, which is another indication that the energies are ascending and transitioning. So when we're looking at what is going on in terms of, because people keep asking, when is the EBS? When is NESARA? When are they going to get rid of the IRS? When are they going to get, do all of these different things that we all know 100% is going to happen. So this is what Shelly was saying at the very beginning, because she had read that question right as she was going into channel. And so when we spoke a couple of weeks ago, there was a very powerful, powerful energy of this streaming down into the consciousness of humanity that was spreading out throughout all of humanity. And as I read that, as I looked at that, what I saw was people receiving the funding that was coming from what you would call NESARA or JASARA. It started out as NESARA for the United States, national, and then JASARA global. So either one, they're referring to the same thing. But that is what I saw when I looked at that snapshot. So people that are like, oh, you're wrong, you're wrong. You cannot judge right or wrong, because I can only speak that which is my truth. And I can, oh boy, it's bringing up a lot of emotion in Shelly. So obviously she's been filtering some of that. I could only speak my truth. And with the great understanding that we as humanity, meaning those of you living on the earth, and I include myself in this because I work so much with humanity, but that we as humanity are still creating our reality. So as I just spoke about those waves and those levels and how many more people are aware and how many more people are focusing on their thoughts and beliefs on a higher vibrational frequency, there is still many, 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 if I would say maybe 30 to 40% that do not. Some of that 30 to 40% have zero clue. And then between that 30 to about probably 80%, that's the vast majority. And they're the ones that have an understanding. They know things are happening. They don't really know what and how it is, but they know it's happening. So that's what's creating the stability for you. But there's just, this is why things have not manifested in the physical reality. I know that it will. I know 100%. I know 200% that it will. The energies this week, as we were looking at them and as I was looking at them, is that there is yet another delay. How many delays have we had? At least a dozen that I can think of, and that I am vehemently against. But what I do want you all to know is that it is so important to keep focusing on the flow of abundance. Keep focusing and putting into the atmospheres, putting into the energies of the earth plane, the flow of abundance, whatever that is to you. It does. If you feel constricted and like you don't have very much financial support at the moment, then find abundance in something else. And if you feel that, you go to the stores or the restaurants or whatever, and gee willikers, where'd that come from? Gee whiz, it's so much more money to do this, but my money isn't keeping up. So those are the things that keep happening over and over on a multiple times during the day for a lot of people. And that just makes them constrict, because they feel as if, what am I going to do? How am I going to make it through? So for those of you, if that is your experience and you are here and listening and aware, I'm asking you, when you feel that way, to instead say, oh man, hate this position, don't really want to stay here longer. Let me pull up that energies, clear it out, and then just feel that flow of light of your divinity. This is energy work, and energy work is something that can be very, very long lasting, or it can be very short and to the point. But the more that everyone is actively participating with the energy that is in and around them and in their the universe, of course, but I'm talking about into the collective consciousness of the planet, this is how you're going to shift it for the whole. And you are really very, very powerful. You've done energy work multiple times during the last 2 years when you guys were the ones that shifted and made something not as bad as it could have been. You were the people that looked at something and sent love, light, calming, peace, whatever it is that was needed in that moment. You were the ones that changed it. And so I'm saying this because I want you to realize that you have been making a difference. You are powerful, and you can continue to make a difference. So, I mean, I think it was this time last year, wasn't it, when we felt that strong impulse of energy of, okay, there's going to be an opening door. I see this opening flow of abundance. I see it going into everybody, and it didn't happen then. Is it going to happen? There's still another week. There's still another. Wait, we are just partway through this month. There's absolutely the potential, and so okay, I just heard someone saying that. Someone just said, yes, but I'm tired of doing that and constantly being disappointed. So that's when you have to disconnect. When you are emotionally, I mean, you do need your emotions, your thoughts, your truth. You do need to have that be a part of this equation. But when you feel as if you're emotionally beaten down again and again, and you keep that, you hold on to that, then you're going to backfire it with what you're trying to do. So the disappointment, anything that you feel emotionally, bring it up, let it go, release it, so that you can instead be in that kind of that. I don't want to say neutral, because being human, that's a big part of what is wonderful about being human. But if you can instead remember to just disconnect anytime you feel really emotionally drawn into something. That's what lets more light through. That's what lets more energy through. And that's what makes you more effective and more a part of what you are seeking to create. Instead of saying, hey, I want this, but it doesn't feel like it's available to me because it's all the way out there. You can't manifest something unless it resonates within you, unless it resonates from the cellular aspect of you, through your emotions, your thoughts. That is why it is so important for you to check in with yourself. You can do that through prayers or meditation. You can do that just driving down the road. Hey, let me take a quick check here and clear it out. It does not have to be something that 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes. It can be something quick and easy, and you're clearing out your energy. Okay, so I know that it gets hard and it gets frustrated for people, and I want you to know that you have all of my compassion and all of my awareness from this. So just be aware that everything that is happening is incredibly temporary, and the energies, the frequencies of the Aquarian age and of the golden age, whatever word you want to give for that, they're already here. They're already embedded into the earth. There's already that overlay, and that's what you're moving through to get towards, so that will be your everyday reality. And in a very, very, very not so distant future, you're going to be saying, wait a second, didn't it used to be really horrible? What was that like again? My sense is that once you get through this phase of transition, it's going to be very quickly a transition into things that are going to be much more supportive and loving and compassionate for you. So looking back at 2024, this is a hard year, was it not? So many people had anticipated that because we'd already shifted so much into the higher frequency, so many people had anticipated that it was going to be a year of manifesting and integrating new and different things. But it kind of turned out the reverse, did it not? It turned out to be a year of release, release, release. But you can't release unless it comes up. So so many people had experiences that were very, very trying this year. There was a lot of emotional things that needed to be cleared. There were physical things, people changing relationships, changing jobs, changing, just so many things. So understand that we are literally shifting energies on Saturday, because it's that winter solstice. You've heard about how the calendar is going to change. That is coming. I see it within about 2 years. So this was just chosen as a time to have the end of the calendar and begin the new calendar. It was all chosen as December and January because of the winter solstice and because of the input in energies and the influx of energies. So I'm just saying that it's just a few days, and you can already feel the flow of these energies when there's going to be a deep clearing out that takes place. And from that deep clearing out, then there's a huge influx and wash of energy that is going to be more so the energy for next year. I just remembered this. So most of you that have already been on this path and have done all your work, you're going to feel like it's a breeze. All those other people that haven't yet done their work, next year may be the challenging year for them. A number 9 year is frequently about completion. So many people are thinking that it's about completion. And it is one way to look at all of this, is that you guys are all in the forefront of it. You're doing it all first, and then the rest of humanity will be catching up to you. So that's one way of looking at it. But also, I want to remind you that 2025 as a number 9 is also a cosmic alignment year, meaning it's the vibration and the frequency is more universal, as opposed to just the things that are happening in each person individually or in the planet. So it's going to be a great year, and I truly, truly believe, I mean, on some hands, I think this past year was a really good year. It's just, I know it's been challenging, but next year feels like there's going to be a great deal more opportunity available to people. And I feel as if so many of these financial things that have been a strain for everybody, I feel as if all of that is going to be shifting and transitioning next year. So the Brysentia will speak more about the solstice. So I'm trying to think if there was something else I wanted to say. I think I wanted to just jump in here because I know everyone's asking, where's the money? When's it going to happen? And how is it going to come about? There were so many things. I believe the last time wasn't when the election took place, was it? That was like 2 times ago, I think. And my personal take, as I'm looking at the planet and as I'm looking at the United States, is that there's, like, from the minute the election was completed, there was already a wave of energy that just came in and started clearing out a lot of the corruption and clearing out a lot of the things that had not, had been holding back humanity. Okay. Okay. All right, I have decided that I'm also going to talk about something else. There was something that Shelly had done with a friend of hers, and it was about clearing out some more of the really deep, deep, deeply seated ancient satanic energy. And it just came out of the blue for her, and she was working on it, and then worked on it another time, like it came first with one individual she was doing a private session with, and then it went deeper and deeper and deeper. And what they have done with the assistance of me and other people from the universe is clear out several beings that were deeply, deeply implanted in what's like maybe Oh, Eastern European mountains in those deep mountain ranges. And these were beings that were pre-Anunnaki. They were there very, very, very long time. And my sense is when I looked at that and when I looked into things is that it was the last thread. They were setting up, trying to set up a new regime. The other sense that we got about it was that this is who those 13 families reported to, and then clearing out the caves and clearing out the just that deep, deep, deep entrained energy of evil and nastiness. So two things came from that. Number one was that when it was set up by this nefarious one, he did it in such a way that Gaia could not even heal herself. And so once that was removed, then Gaia immediately could start healing herself in that area. Very important thing. The other thing that came up was the resurgence of the dragons. We could feel the dragons were released. We felt them in various parts of the world. So Shelly's probably going to write a blog or something about this, but this is one of those things that she was like, do I really want to talk about it? But I felt like it was important for you to understand that the people have a tendency to say, oh, all of the evil was a result of this, or all of the evil was a result of this. But it was actually many, many, many layers. And this being was here several 100,000 years. It's a very, very old being. And so we're not going to, I'm not going to go into any more detail. But when that happened, that was another piece of clearing out one of those overlays or multiple overlays on the planet. Because now when they tap into that area, and each one of you can do it yourself, just take a check. Let me do, what is it? Sound check. Let me do an energy check and just feel, go to certain parts of the planet and see if you can feel the improvement, because Shelly certainly can. And the couple of people that she was working with, they too can feel the difference. So this is the reason that I wanted to bring it up to you, was to help you understand that even now there have still been some of these deeply buried nefarious energies. The perspective is that all that were left, because those main families are gone, the reptilians are gone, there's massive numbers that have gone. A lot of the royalty is gone, a lot of the just the different people that have worked with that are gone, and they really are gone. So this is something that was trying to that over the different eons would say, okay, I'll lay low for a minute and I'll come back and get them again. And so this felt like no matter what happened, that that it cannot come back. It's gone out of the planet, out of the universe, and into a totally different existence. So I see that message. Are dragons evil? No, dragons are amazing. Dragons, as one of the things that you need to ask yourself, because this is where you're in that teeter-totter of information. Some dragons were trained to be evil, or to hurt humanity, but intrinsically the vast majority of them were the ones that were protectors of humanity, and they were protectors of the spirituality. We're not talking about dragons that we're talking about dragons with intelligence, and dragons that could speak and communicate, and they just had a really big form, and many of them could shapeshift into a human form. Many of them are a part of the earth, so you will see a resurgence of them. And one of the reasons that they were bound or contained into the earth was to keep them from doing the spiritual work that they have always done. So don't be surprised if you hear more and more about the dragons coming forth. They are all over the world, and they are very, very precious. And some of them, when they were released, they transitioned and left the earth plane, but there's still a great deal more. We remember Shelly channeled Dragon that other time. He just called himself Dragon. She just has not had an opportunity to go in and talk to him, because this all literally happened just a few days ago. Okay, now I'm done. Now I have said all of the messages that I wanted to say. Let's get busy with some of your questions and answers. Was the aliens responsible for the tornado in Scotts Valley, California? It does not feel as if the aliens were responsible. It feels as if HARP is still being manipulated by certain people. It does not feel like it's as prevalent as it used to be, but it is still happening. It feels like it was something that was a natural occurrence that got amplified by HARP. So I would not call them aliens because they're humans that do that, and um, and that's what took place. Of that it felt like honestly, the more I'm looking into it, it feels like it was clearing out some old dense energy that was in that was stuck in that valley. So I'm wondering if perhaps it was what they call the white hats were the ones that were manipulating it because they were actually trying to clear out some old energy and clear out some of those things that were deep in the valley of that area. So yes, it was manipulated. No, it wasn't by aliens. Is the corrupt government of Canada collapsing? The Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister resigned today, and many are calling for the resignation of Justin Trudeau. Okay. Yes, it feels as if the transition is taking place in Canada. We knew this was coming. We knew that many of them capitulated several years ago, and many of them have been acting as a facade. There is also a lot of talk going around that, okay, this is going to happen, then they're just going to become part of the United States. I do not see that happening. I do not see that as a reason for this to happen. I feel that the people that are saying that are saying it as a means of creating fear or anger or disharmony between the two countries. Everything is going to stay as it is country wise for at least 5 years or 10 years or something like that. There is a potential, but you see how our potentials change all the time. There is a potential that at some point, most of the countries on all the continents will become, much more unified, but I don't see that anytime in the near future. But Canada's government is transitioning, and it's kind of going hand in hand with the transition of the United States, because as Trump comes back in and the people that he's putting in place, all of that is being done so as to help to clear out all the negativity, help to clear out all of the nefarious ones. And just as there have been so many in the US, there have been a lot in Canada. So, yes, there is a big transitioning that is taking place. If the drones are a distraction, what are they a distraction from? Now, people have asked Shelly because she was just too tired; she wasn't able to do it. But talked about New Jersey having a lot of drones, and there apparently has been a lot of written about that, and that they're picking up things that are inside the earth. And what are these drones really about? Are they legit? Are they the distraction? What does it mean? So drones, you will see a great deal more of them in the future. The drones have been used for very nefarious reasons in the past. However, the way I see it going in the future is they will be used a lot more for like delivering things, and especially to get things that to out of the way places. So drones in and of themselves are just a tool. It's about how they're used and how they're built and what the intention is for how that drone is going to work. So I just felt like I needed to say that. We use a lot of drones all the time up here in our ships and on the motherships. And so we don't have necessarily a negative connotation for using drones. Now, if this person is talking about the Northeast of the United States, I don't know if that person's on here, but let me look into that and see if that's was that a distraction or what. For that, I'm seeing two things are going on. I'm seeing that there are things inside the earth, like below the surface, like metals, lithium and other metals. And they were saying, well, where is this? Like before doing mining type things, they were looking to see where is it there. I did see that going on. Now, there was also some talk that the drones were going to be out there, and everyone's looking at those drones and what's happening inland. And it felt like there were some tunnels and some other things that were used for nefarious reasons that were being cleared out. They were removing people. That's a huge part of 2020. Why they shut everything down was so that they could remove these children and individuals that had been stuck in these tunnels for such a long time. And it felt like in New Jersey, at least, that was part of what they were doing. They were having, all of this activity out over the water, and they were looking for stuff and they were documenting stuff. However, I also have this sense of like these places in those states along the border that it was a big transitional area when it comes to the dumps, and so those dumps were being cleared out at that time. So it was both a distraction and it was also showing what was out there. Were Prince Harry and William always made aware of their reptilian ancestry? Does Meghan know, and did she and Harry try to escape England to avoid being exposed? Ooh, that is such a tough one, because Meghan is a reptilian, and you can see it in her. You can see it in the look in her eyes. So my sense when I looked at them was that Meghan was sent to go get Harry and recruit him. Harry was always kind of the loose cannon, since he was not the eldest. He was able to have a lot more flexibility. They both knew what was going on. They knew what their mother was. They knew what that, from probably the age of about 4 or 5, maybe as much as 6. And that's something to stop and think about, showing you how this is how they disconnect personalities. Like someone that can see something horrific and be told, this is what you're going to be doing, this is what you're going to be in charge of, this is your heritage, and then have to go around and just be like a normal other kid like anybody else. It creates a rift inside of them. So let me look at William and Harry and what's the other girl's name? We forgot. So it feels as if, Meghan and, the princess. When I look at all of them, Prince William was supposed to be the one to come in and take down the monarchy and then take over in moving forward in the transition out of having a monarchy. They may still do that, but the Prince William that you're looking at is not the original Prince William. There was some talk that when the children were very, very young, that Princess Diana switched them out, and she took her 2 kids and she left and hid them. There's some truth to that. Then and so maybe these people that we see, that my sense as I'm looking at them is they don't feel as if they have the same lineage, and they don't feel as if they're the same beings. But Harry, yep, they were both made aware at a young age, and it feels like perhaps that's when Diana says, oh, no, 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 and she took him and she fled, and then they had her death. There's always that question. We've seen it before, and people have asked me before, and Brysentia, is Diana really dead, or did she really die in that car accident? And it feels like that car accident was a cover-up, that she did not die at that time. Is she still alive? She either disappeared so much or she shifted into a different vibration, but everything she did was try to be in protection of her children. And there's some sort of an illusion or something over them that, as I look at them now, I do believe that they were told at a young age. Are they alive now, and are they doing what they're supposed to do? It does feel as if Harry and Meghan have been removed. It does feel as if, it just feels like they're removed. That's all I can say. The people that are portraying them, I'm not sure who they are. I don't know if they're actors wearing masks. I don't know. I just, there's a buffer, or there's something that's keeping me from seeing that really, really clearly. But that's the energy that I see around that. Whew. Sending love from Vermont. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm wondering if you see Sky's Medbed. I see where some people are promoting them and others saying that they are not the extraterrestrial Medbeds, as they are charging a fee to use them. Is this a scam and to take money from those that are sick? So by Sky, she's referring to the individual down in Australia. And so that individual, I have always felt, is very connected to some non-terrestrials, and it is authentic Medbeds, and it is authentic, what do you call it? Healing that she intends to promote. Now, that being said, it's been years and it's not happened. It's still staying in the higher vibration. And so whether she was behind this or others, it feels as if they came up with something. There have been many, many alternative healing modalities that have come up over the last 3 to 4 years, some as much as 7 years ago. And many of those are very, very effective. So, so my sense as I'm looking at her is that just as a means of trying to support herself and trying to say, well, yep, these are a form of a medbed is what I'm hearing. Is she saying this is the true authentic medbed, or is she saying a form of the medbed? That would be my question. Because we do feel as if she's doing something that just to try to get some income, and it is helpful to people. The question has always been, are the medbeds going to be free? And that was always the intention. They are being used. They are present on the earth plane and being used, but mostly by military facilities and mostly by those that are the white hats. It is not out for general use yet for several reasons. Number one, people have to have a certain vibrational frequency in order for it to be effective. Number two, the consciousness of the planet is not ready for it. And so that, I guess the third reason is that all of these changes that you are doing that are taking place are what are taking you step by step by step closer to something like that. But they have to get rid of the or dismantle the pharmaceutical companies, because they have been one of the major blockages to this happening. Because of course, what would you need pharmaceuticals for if you can heal yourself? And so that is something that is coming down the pike. What Sky is using, my take is that it is a form of a medbed, and it's just an alternative healing modality. And there are things that are going to be much more cohesive and much more all-encompassing in the not-so-distant future. What is going on with the fentanyl crisis, and who is responsible for all the deaths of our young people on the planet? When will this drug be cleared? So, all of the drug addictions, the fentanyl is just the most recent. All of the drug addictions have been done by the Nefarious Ones. They're the ones that's why those wars took place, so that they could go in and take over the fields where they grew the drugs. That's why, so many different things that have happened on the planet over the last 50 years have been about securing drugs and manipulating them and chemically infusing them. So that's been a huge moneymaker. That is something that will come down, and it will come down pretty quickly once they get rid of those that are still profiting from it. And some of these, for the US, a lot of it is coming over the border from other nations, from some of the smaller nations. And once the border is secured, that's one thing that will slow it down. But the drugs really have not been a problem until the 90s. And that was when the pharmaceutical companies began to realize, oh, hey, we can really, jack it up and make it even stronger, make it even more addictive. And they did that with conscious thought. I mean, there are documentaries to prove it all over the place. So that was all done with a clear intention, as a means of making people sicker, as a means of making people, need to buy things and purchase these medications. And then that, of course, led to the black market, and that led to the, so yes, it's been a horrible epidemic, and it is something that is already lessening to a certain degree. Of course, not to those that are in the addiction mode. I'm sure you're going to say that to me, but as I'm looking at it, it seems smaller than what it was, say, 2 to 3 years ago. And it is something that will be eliminated within the next 3 to 5 years. My take. Is that it? Okay. Whew. Well, thank you for this opportunity to talk. As you know, we all love to get together. We all love to share our perspectives of things. And I'm coming from that universal perspective, and I'm happy to share with you my thoughts and answer your questions. I do want to share with you at this time of celebrations upon the earth that you enjoy yourself, that you be in that place of joy, happiness, and love, because nothing raises the vibration greater than joy, happiness, love. When you are happy and you laugh out loud, choo, it shoots the energy right up. So, anytime that you can find joy or love or happiness in your life, you are stepping into the higher frequency, helping not only you, but everybody else around you and the collective consciousness. So, thank you for this opportunity. And I will see you again shortly on Siluia. Greetings, it is I, Brysentia. As I come to you at this time, there is so much that I want to share with you. Your planet is being cleansed from the inside out. Albayon shared about the experience that took place, and I was going to talk about it, but it is all equal. But what I do want to share as a follow-up to it is that there are people that will go in there and they will clear out these energies, and then there are other people that come behind, fairies, devas, some of those dragons, people like us will go behind, and we will work on healing these parts of the planet that had been closed off from the energy of Gaia, closed off from the energies around them. Some of them were created, had become actually somewhat invisible. But here's what I wish to share with you. When I go into those areas where some of them I could not tolerate, some of them I had no idea they were even there because they had been masked from me. And as I followed up behind that clearing out of the entities, then I could see things in a different way. There was a witch energy that was also removed, and it was the witch that had worked with this other and created the spells that cast things. And this was a witch that lived for thousands of years, not a witch that lived just a lifetime. But there is one that was most recently upon the earth, that was the most recent incarnation or used by this energy. So I just wanted to share with you that she too is gone, and she being gone is one of the biggest changes that you are going to notice. There, by removing her from the earth, it allows the earth itself to get back to its soul. And I wanted to make a bit of a comparison with this. Consider yourself, consider those of you that have been on this very spiritual journey where perhaps for a little or a lot of your life, you were somewhat disconnected from soul. You can never, ever be 100% disconnected, because your soul cannot, it's never going to disconnect you. However, the perception from your human self that there is no soul, there is nothing else, is very, very hard. And it's very hard on you as the person. So as I came in afterwards and I looked at these areas, what I saw was that it's almost like something that in its own consciousness was looking around and realizing the beauty of Gaia herself, that pulsation that had always been there that they didn't know was there, suddenly reconnecting, and suddenly just the expansion of light and energy into these caverns was magnificent. My sense is that this was always a very sacred space, which is why it was taken over in the way it was. It was some of the most ancient land upon the planet, and it will return to the beauty that it once was. Let me speak for a moment about the dragons. The dragons were some of the ones that were monitoring that. They were keeping, what's the word? Security, like a security. They were keeping, um, they were, they were, what's the word? I can't think of the word. But anyway, so there were dragons around there, and some of them became enslaved, and some of them, through a mind control thing that just overwhelmed them, and they were unable to get out of it. And as those spells were broken and cleared out, then these dragons were also broken. The spell on them was also broken and cleared out. And most of the ones that were in that area trying to protect, they were trying to protect humanity, even though they were enspelled. They were trying to protect humanity as best they could. Most of those went off planet to go back to where they could be healed. And there's a lot of emotion coming up in Shelly as I speak of this, to be healed. And some of them may decide to come back, but some of them may not. But dragon is another form of life. Dragon has a consciousness. Dragon has a lot of mystical abilities. They mostly are pretty large, and they can fly. They've got the wings. They not all of them shoot out fire, but that is one of the things that they are known for. And so the dragons you're going to hear about quite a bit in the next year. There are other mythical creatures that people think are non-existent that are indeed existent, and you will hear more about those also, because as they removed that overlay that kept all of these, the mysticism suppressed, then suddenly things are going to just pop up and say, oh, wow, I can show myself again. And so this is also going to be, there was a great deal of mysticism in the original Bible, in the original teachings from the various religious figures that have been around the planet in the last, probably the last eon, the last 26,000 years. And you will begin to hear, oh, wait a second, they didn't tell me that when I was growing up, but you will feel the truth of it or the honesty of it. So much of that is what's going to be coming out in this new beginning, this new release. Maybe it'll be towards the end of next year. Maybe it'll be the following year. I'm not sure. But don't be surprised and don't be upset if you hear things and you think, oh my gosh, that's a betrayal of my religion. No, it's not a betrayal of your religion, because this is clearing up lies. This is clearing up a deception so that you have all the information and you understand the full concept of what was going on with those beings that lived and represented that, not only for you, but for the humanity that was living at that time. So I just think it's important that that you take a moment and understand that as you begin to hear many of these truths come out, that oh, by the way, there's a lot that can be said and a lot that can be done. Okay, now let's talk about the solstice. This solstice that is coming up is very, very important. When you look at the alignment of the stars and the alignment of the planets, there is a particularly sharp or deep, or what word do you want to use, impulse that's coming in as a solar flare. This is one of the ones that's coming from the central sun. It's coming into the earth as a means of breaking up the low density. Do you remember, was it 2 years ago or maybe 3, when we started to say, okay, third dimension's gone? And then everyone's like, no, it's still here. No, look at how people are acting. So even though the energy or the place that it took up space was no longer holding it, it's like humanity recreated something that represented that third dimension. So it took us another 1 to 2 years to really clear it out. So now going forward after this solstice, there is no way, shape, or form the third dimensional vibrational frequency. It is done, it is gone. And that being said, even if you see people that are harmful to others, or people that are in deep anger, or people that are in, whatever it was that was representing of that low dense energy, well, what they're doing is they're at that lower vibration of the fourth dimension. But here's the key that's really exciting about this is the fourth dimension doesn't have entrained within it that heavy, dense negativity that the third did. So therefore, people can be in that negativity. They can be in that space where they're harmful to themselves or others. They can be in that space of control and manipulation. However, they're surrounded by all of this vibrational frequency that is not in alignment with that. So therefore, what they might set up to try to become a new reality, it can't support itself. It can't stay. It can't be present because everything around it is a higher vibrational frequency that will not allow that to be present. And this is one of the reasons why we say, hey, this is going away. It takes time, as you know, everything takes time. But I think that it will also make it way easier for you after this solstice to be able to be really present in your own energy, in your higher vibration and frequency. Do you remember last time that we got together, how I talked about people feeling as if they're living in two existences at the same time, like they have that vivid dream, lucid dreaming, or as if they are here and they think, no, this is the reality. And then they look around and say, but no, everyone's down there doing something else. So be aware that that's going to continue for a little bit longer, but with this cutting up or the breaking down of the energies that comes with this solstice, there should be less of that feeling of disconnect within each one of you. You should be much more present. You should be much more expanded in your own physical body. And you will also begin to feel that transition taking place of, into the crystalline energies. It does, your emotions, your thoughts, your beliefs do transition into that crystalline vibration also. So I just felt it was important for you to not only be aware of what is going on, but when you see your friends, your families, your loved ones that just seem like what in the heck is going on with them. Hopefully it's not going to be as severe as what it was a few years ago, but you may still hear people, seeing that very discordant energy from yours. And so just again, stay in your own balance, stay in your own place of awareness, and just send out the vibration of love and acceptance so that everyone around you can also transition into that energy. We have all said for the last several years that the ascension occurs in everyone's unconsciousness and then it moves forward into the consciousness. So many people, millions, if not billions of people are receiving all this information, all these downloads, all of this awareness into their unconsciousness. It's just a matter of how thick is that wall between the unconscious and the conscious so that it can then come forward into the consciousness. And this is also why, as more and more information, as you guys talk, as other people talk, as all of that is going into their conscious mind and awareness, then that will trigger what's already in their unconscious and give them that sense of, oh, I think that makes sense to me, or I think I've heard that before, or there's something about that. The other thing to reiterate, we've said it several times, but the other thing to reiterate then is that as all of this information is being downloaded into those of you that are aware, and maybe other people are like, that's craziness, I don't follow that, that's ridiculous. But the truth will rise in, and it will be a part of that, the collective consciousness of the earth. So will the untruth. But just as I mentioned about the lower aspect of the fourth dimension, so too, if there is untruth and a lot of people believing an untruth that is a part of the collective consciousness, it will get weeded out by the vibration, the frequency, and just the sheer knowledge of the truth and the consciousness of that is all there surrounding it. So it's pretty exciting. It's pretty Pretty interesting time, no doubt about it. And you guys have worked very, very hard for this. You have been very diligent. Try to keep yourself in that place of balance. Keep yourself in that place of love, and just know that everything you are doing is effective. You may not see the results right now, but it is effective, and it is all just growing and growing and growing in and around you. Okay. So are there questions for me tonight? There's a man claiming he is the original. Oh, I know what this is. Some feel this man is MK altered, as the one we grew up with knowing as JFK Jr. is the original. How can we tell which is? Yes, I'm aware of this one you're talking about because I immediately felt the energy in Shelly. For some of these elites, there were multiple, including the royals that they talked about with that other question. There had multiple editions of them, you could say, and he was trained to believe that he is John F. Kennedy Jr. However, when I look at it, my sense is that I mean, when I look at him, he speaks what is his truth, his 100% truth. When I look at the other one and I look at him, I feel as if the one that you guys have known as RFK or JFK Jr., is the true, authentic one. And that's why he was the one that was targeted. That's why he was the one that had so many of those experiences that he had. And that's why he's got the energy, the vibration, and the frequency to be able to do. That's a good question. We've always said that that Trump is an ET. He's got a lot of that ET energy in him, and he goes off planet for healing. He has a lot of experiences with that. So the question, when I was just looking at this and looking at that, I feel as if John Kennedy Jr. also has a lot of that ET energy in him. This other individual does not. But this one that is around him, it feels like he does. And it feels like that's what makes him the true and authentic John Kennedy Jr. There's all these different people and, especially with that name. But Robert Kennedy is really rising to the top now. And he has done a lot of work for a long time. And, just making as a comment, none of these people are perfect. Look at his background. He had a very hard time because he grew up with with those elites. He grew up with a lot, and it led him into a lot of problems when he was younger. But then he changed. He got out of that. He moved beyond that, and he is going to make fabulous changes in the country. There's a question if John F. Kennedy Jr. will ever come out. It will be known that he did not die, that he faked his death, and that he's been working on all these things in the background. So that information will come out. He has worked hand in hand with President Trump, especially and during these last 4 years. Some say he was the vice president. Some say he worked as a. I see truth in that. But he has always held a cloak of energy around himself, not only as protection, but also so that people don't find him, like if they're looking for him, remote viewing and stuff like that. So that's my perception of this situation. Is that it? Okay. Do you and your people have any planetary celebrations like planet Earth? That is so funny that you asked that question, because as Shelly was quiet and, like pulling in the energy, she was asking me the same thing, saying, hey, there's such a focus on this, and all of the religions talk about bringing in the light and living in the light and celebrating the light. And what does that represent? And why is it that that's been, your truth, your reality? Is because, be it conscious or unconscious, all of humanity has been seeking a way to get out of that depth and that heavy overlay that you've had for so long, and you seek the light, and within the light you are your soul, you are your space of God. So So that was just a conversation that Shelly and I had also had a couple of days ago, and then it came up again tonight. So she was saying, "Hey, what about your celebrations?" We do have celebrations for various things. It's how do we say this? So many of the celebrations that you have that are the really big ones revolve around your religions, and then like the end of the year, like the transition from one year into a new year, and like for some of the countries, this is our Day of Independence, and so a lot of those revolve, and they're very specific for this planet, and they're very specific for the people that live on it. So when you talk to those of us that are there, each planet out within the universe have certain celebrations that they do. Some of it was also independence. It was the planet's independence. You will have a day of the planet's independence at some point in the future. And so we do celebrate that. We do not have a need for celebrations around religion because there, I don't, hmm, we don't have religions in the way that you do. We know our spirituality because we know our soul. We know that God within us. We know it is just, it's in every fiber of our being. So we don't celebrate it in the same way that you do. But the celebrations that we do have, there are marriages, there are celebrations of communicate connections between two individuals. There are celebrations that arise around, like I said, each planet within the universe. There are certain times, especially those on the motherships, and especially those that are working so directly with you on the planet. We celebrate your holidays with you because the vibration and the energy is just so rich and full, and we're here, we're a part of it, so we celebrate these with you. But yes, we do have celebrations out within the universe, but they're different than yours. And I did want to, I just can't help but speak about the biggest difference in spirituality is the fact that we just know we are God, we are source, we are that we are. And so as the planet becomes liberated, and as each one of you have that deeper connection within you, you will each look back and say, how in the world could we ever have been disconnected from that? So it's tends our celebrations tend to be around community, celebrations that are like more planet wide, and even though we are here like on our missions, we still celebrate that which comes from our home planet. Okay, thank you for that interesting question. Okay, if someone born in the Chinese year of the dragon connected to the dragons, what a great question. I feel that the Chinese were some of the original individuals on this planet. And so when they made the years associated with the various animals, they did so because of the traits that that animal represented. So if you were born in the year of the dragon, then yes, you have a lot of that dragon energy. And then every so often, when that year comes around again, then everybody, whether you're born in that year or not, you also have access to the dragon energies. Like the year of the rabbit, people will say, or what are some of those? The year of the boar, even, and some of those animals that you think, oh my gosh, I don't want to be that animal. But all animals have have beautiful qualities within them. Sometimes it's their strength, sometimes it's their pushing through, sometimes it's their sneakiness, sometimes it's their ability to hide themselves, like when they change color or something. So my point is that there really is when you look at these zodiac calendars, whether it's the astrology that you're accustomed to or the Chinese calendar, they were all created originally as a means of supporting humanity. And everybody chooses when they're born. You're choosing when you're born because you know that the planets are all lining up in that way. You chose to be born the year of the dragon because you needed that deep spirituality, perhaps the protectiveness, perhaps the all the energy that goes along with the dragons. And there's always been a mystique about them, and it's Yeah, they're pretty powerful. I mean, heck, remember how we talked about Avalon back in 2016, and the dragons helped to literally physically lift a piece of earth off the earth and transport it into a whole nother dimension. So that's exactly why people are born at the time that they're born, and why they're born into a particular year that they're, in terms of the Chinese or the zodiac or whatever you're looking at. How come those nefarious ones who are vibrating at 4D and 3D be so powerful to control the entities of 5D and more? So they what they set up, this is probably one of the reasons why we spoke of this. When they have, I mean, you can be powerful in a negative energy and you can be powerful in the light energy. And when you have a powerful negative energy that's able to cast spells or cast wards or cast energy on an individual, whether it's that individual or a group of people, then those people sometimes, even though they may be vibrating at a high level, there's a piece of it or a part of it that is in them or in their unconsciousness that they are able to tune into, that they can control and manipulate. Most of those do not get to a super high vibration because that keeps them from getting to a very high vibration. However, um, what we're talking about here, so let me remind you, it was at the winter solstice, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Do you recall how we talked about there were, I thought it was Schwab, but there were some of those nefarious ones that went down into Antarctic and they undid some of the spells that had been placed on humanity. And it had to be them undoing it because they were of the frequency that created it. And this, if I'm remembering it correctly, this was how they got from being killed. They undid these spells and then they were taken off planet and not immediately killed. They were set to be killed, and that was their get out of jail, if you want to call it that. So these spells, if you want to call them that, have been around for a very, very long time. And some of it you could call this overlay is perhaps similar to a spell. And so some of it that, and this is how someone that's of a lower vibrational frequency can have some control over these higher vibrational frequencies. Those that they had total control over were not vibrating at a high frequency. Um, they just couldn't because they were entrained or entrapped in that energy. But for some, it didn't take much because it was a part of the collective consciousness. So they removed that several years ago. We just removed another one, and at that time we went through all of the different places in the earth and asking Gaia where are more, so that we can go in and do what we could to undo them. So it will be less and less. This is another thing that is going to have an impact. So the nefarious ones will have less control over people because they're not going to have those spells that they used as a means of controlling people. And I think the other thing to consider in that is that the fifth dimensional people were not high fifth dimension. They were maybe just tapping into it. And that was just a portion of them was going into it. And they couldn't be 100% there because something was holding them back. But that's how those lower vibrational beings, and maybe they had some high vibration in a part of them. No, that doesn't resonate with me. I'm just trying to work through this as I'm answering your questions and look at it step by step. But that's the way I see it. When you have deeply nefarious people that are that evil, they cannot vibrate at that higher vibration. They just can't. And so it was working through the spells and working through the other energy that was controlling them, which is how they did things. I think that's the best answer. Okay. Does holding a higher vibration ever become a natural thing? 100%. 100%. It becomes absolutely natural. It becomes absolutely a part of you. And in fact, many of you, this is already your normal, is that you're vibrating at that higher vibrational frequency. And it's only when you get knocked out of it, or things become a stress, or things become challenging, that you recognize, oh, wait, I'm not at my higher vibration. So, and that's when you literally call it back in, or you call, you do whatever it is you need to do to shift your energy up into that higher frequency. But absolutely, it becomes automatic, and you don't have to sit and think about it. And the times you have to sit and think about it are only those times when you need to, what's the word? Clear something out so that you can go back to that higher frequency. Is that it? Okay. Yeah, Shelly's starting to get tired, so I will bring this to a close then. I thank you for this opportunity. Come celebrate. Oh, speaking of celebrations out in the universe, there is a solstice and an equinox, or something similar to that, on every planet. So that is another thing that we celebrate, as opposed to these religious holidays. We celebrate the seasons, and we celebrate the growing season, the harvesting, the winter when you're hibernating, the summer when you're enjoying the sun. So the seasons are also very important, and they are present on just about every single planet. Okay. So thank you so much for this opportunity. Come celebrate with me on Saturday. I guess it's Sunday for some people, Saturday for others. And just enjoy this time of the influx of energy, because it's going to be fun. It's going to be a big one. But I'm always with you. Ansaluia. Greetings. It is I, Crystallia, and I come with this celebration of light. I love that person asked about, what do we celebrate out in the universe? What do we celebrate here? From where I came from, we all celebrated the light. And that may seem funny to you, because we were all of the light. So it was a way of recognizing that if someone just accomplished something, then we would all celebrate. If someone had been trying to grow, learn, change, evolve, we would all celebrate. So it was more so that each of us would feel, as part of our collective consciousness, oh, so-and-so just did this. We would all celebrate. So that's one of the differences. I feel as if we celebrated all the time. Every day there was a celebration. And a celebration was something that was just important. It was about not making just certain things special that you celebrate, but that everything is special, that every person has that special energy in them. Every person is growing, changing, making their life, and then celebrate them, celebrate it all. And that's what's most important. Okay. So coming into the earth plane, I was working with the energies that are coming. Now, I feel as if the solar flare aspect of the solstice that's coming up in a few days is very, very big. It almost looks like these balls of white light and white energy are coming in towards the earth. It feels as if someone may have seen them, or thought they were asteroids or something like that are going to come in and hit the earth, and then they go into fear. But it's not that. It's literally, as I'm looking at it from out in the universe and down towards the planet and going through the Milky Way galaxy, it's as if there are literal balls of light that are being sent into the earth. And when you look at those balls of light, what you see is there are certain balls that are encoded with a vibration and frequency that, as it hits the energy of the earth plane, it's almost like when you see those images of a sonic boom, where it boom and then it goes out in every direction. That's my sense of what's going to happen with these. Many of them are encoded with something that will go into people's consciousness that will help to awaken them that that there's more to life than what they've known. Another one of these balls in particular, I feel, is going to work on people's DNA, because the awakening cannot be just conscious. You have to have that DNA support that is there literally running through your body. It's going in your bloodstream. It's going in your muscles, your cells, in every part of you. And that too, in turn, then is affecting your emotions, your mental body. So you are not just one or the other, you are all of it placed together. And so these impulses I see are about the DNA, about the consciousness, about breaking up old paradigms, and about giving you potentials that you can now step into. Okay, there's something else I wanted to say about that. So as some of these come in and I see them into the earth plane, it feels as if there's like a vibration that goes through. It may be that some places will feel what they call an earthquake, or some people may just feel like you stop for a minute and think, did something just happen? So it may be as noticeable as that, or it may be much more subtle. I think it depends on a person's consciousness. I think it depends on their awareness as to how much they're going to realize what happened, and that direct impulse into them. Okay, now the next thing that's going to happen is this next year of 2025, as you call it, is going to be very powerful. What you are going to see is a lot of mysticism will be revealed. And the way that that's going to be revealed in all of you is people's third eyes are going to be much more wide open. So you see the energies much more fully. People's conscious knowing as you come into contact with other people is going to be really, really activated or really turned on, howsoever you want to say that. But it's going to be in such a way that that you will understand, when is this truth? When is this something in the future? When is this something now? And it is through that energy of consciousness that you're able to shift time. So if you feel as if there's something that's going on in your life and it's pushed out and pushed out and pushed out, and you're like, I need to get this now. I need to, like, say, for example, a new job. Say you're waiting to buy a house. Say you're waiting for this relationship, or, whatever it is that you've been seeking to manifest, and it just keeps being out there. So especially, you can do this all right now, tonight, if you want to. But I'm saying in the year 2025, with this influx of the lighter vibrational activated energies, it'll be easier for you to just go into that inner knowing, that inner consciousness within you, and just say, okay, this is what I choose to bring into my life. And you manifest it by bringing it into you in this now moment. Anytime that it is out there, oh, it's going to happen someday, it stays in someday. And it hasn't happened yet. Why hasn't it happened yet? Then that yet keeps it in a distance from you. So I know that this may be hard. And I know some people will say, well, I don't want to keep saying it's here because it's not here. And I feel like I'm not honest with myself. So if you want, just work with the words that they make sense to you, that it feels real to you, but just say, I am ready to receive. I am open to receive. It is now here, and I am open to receive. Whatsoever it is that works for you. But just be aware that manifesting will will shift in this year to come, and it will be a lot more easier for you, and there'll be a greater flow of energy. You will hear me talking next year more about how your DNA is affected by these things and how things are consciously activated. We've spoken several times tonight about the dragon energy. So it will be the dragon and other creatures, that, as you call them, and other beings that are different from you that will be activating. And some of them will be supporting this energy. Some of them will be your teachers. Some of them will be your animal guides. What do you call them? Animal guides? Some of them will be your guides. They will come in many, many different forms. And so it's important for you to have that experience and to have that knowledge that, yeah, I can do this. Yes, this is my I have this ability. This is going to happen. So anyway, it's all exciting. It's all about the growth of the individual human and the growth of the planet. The connectedness between all of you is going to be more heightened, so that just as I talk about my universe that I come from, where we all have that inner consciousness, it's very acute. It's right there in your consciousness. Well, as a planet or as a community as a whole, you will begin to recognize, oh my goodness, we have to take care of this over here. This person needs help, instead of just walking by and you don't even see it and you can ignore it. You will see the opening experiences. You will see the opening experience of that in particular in the next year, and then that will also get stronger and stronger over time. So this is a time to celebrate. This is a time to enjoy your many holidays that you have. Enjoy all those many parties and times of getting together with one another. And when you feel that stress and that burden and that overwhelmingness, then take in your deep breath and say, I am fortunate that I get to do this. I am fortunate that I live in a place that celebrates life and light. And, whether you're lighting your candles, whether you're together with your Christmas trees, whether you celebrate the birth, there's so many different things. I don't even understand all of them, but there's so many different things there. So enjoy whatever it is that resonates with you, understanding that it is you growing, that you receive it, that you are a part of whatever that celebration may be. Did anyone have a question for me this evening? Does silver hold any healing components? So all of the precious metals hold some amount of healing components within them. This is why you'll find silver in particular is a part of certain machines. It's a part of certain, what do you call them? Silver is in certain healing modalities, and copper is another one. I'm thinking of those things I see on people's joints. So yes, silver does have some, but silver is one that could easily go over the line and become toxic to people. So very small amounts of silver can go a long way. There is a healing energy in gold. There's a healing energy in many, many, many of the minerals. This is one of the reasons why they're there as a part of the planet. They're healing and supportive of Gaia. And therefore, as you take it a few steps out, they are healing and supportive of humanity also. All right. I am an identical twin and wondering how I can be so different from my sister. We are usually so connected, but with all that is going on now, we are totally on different levels. So your identity, as identical twins, your DNA is very, very similar to one another. Your cellular structure is very similar to one another. Your physical structure can be very similar to one another, and chances are you carry a sort of a mental connection to one another. However, as you go through life, as you have your all various experiences, you are two totally separate individuals. And so as each one of you is having your own growth experience, you can easily go in different ways. You probably feel it very harshly because you still have that deep connection to her through your heart center. And so it probably is kind of hurtful to you to feel that lower vibrational energy where she is. But this is showing you that independence, even though you're identical twins, that independence of thought, of beliefs, of physical reality. There may be essences that look identical, but you are still two different people. And my sense is that you are probably helping her along a great deal more than what you realize. And whenever she learns, whatever it is that she needs to learn as a part of this process, she will float up or she will rebound up into that higher vibrational frequency very easily because of that link to you. So even though you're identical, as you know, you are two separate people, and free will, allows each of you to do what resonates with you. But I see her as like something just kind of breaks open for her at some day, and she'll be like, oh my gosh, now I get what you've been saying. and you'll be back to that closeness you had at one time. All right, anything else? Looks like that might have been the last question. Well, Shelly's starting to get tired, so we will just bring this to a close. I always try to think of what's a wonderful message that we can close off these evenings with. And I don't want to overthink it. I want to just go back to what I always have to say. Love. It's all about love. You grow. You can grow through pain and suffering, but you can also grow through love. So bring love into your life. Let love be the foundation. Let love be the expression of who you are. That will help you to maintain a much higher vibration and a much greater balance. Look at the world through love. Understand that as you are creating your reality, let that foundation be love. And it doesn't have to be love dependent on anybody else, but that love directly down into you from your soul. And all will evolve from there. Manifestation will become a great deal easier in the year to come. So be open to that. Know that everything you've been doing has been exactly what you need to do. Understand that things change very, very, very quickly. So be open, be love, and be in alignment. Ansaluia. Whew. Well, this is Shelly back. Wow, that was super cool tonight. So, as you know, if you've been following me, you know, I don't really remember a lot of what was said tonight. It's all just kind of bits and pieces here, but it just felt like really good energy, really good energy. Well, I wish you all a wonderful holiday, no matter what holiday you celebrate. I wish you all fun and joy during this time, this chaotic time, as everyone's trying to go everywhere, be everything, do everything. Take some time to just breathe deeply and be love. Thanks so much. I'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye-bye.